Let's check our project directory. Click on the project directory button, open up a folder called IKFan, and set your project directory. Now let's go to File, Load, an object from the Objects folder called tube.lwo. Let's click into Setup, go to a left view, we'll zoom in here. Change the draw mode to wireframe on this tube, and we'll red lock it along with the camera. Go to the Effects tab, we'll highlight Bone Deform while tube is selected. Click on the plus button to add the effect. We'll drag the effect to the top of the list. Let's go back into Items. We're going to add a null called IK Goal. Click on the plus button to add that. We'll drag this to the bottom of the list. We'll move it along Z to the end of our tube. Highlight Skeleton. Use the plus key on the keypad to add a bone. We'll drag this bone down to the bottom just underneath tube. And we'll move this right to the end, right to the base of our IK goal here. Add another bone to that. We'll make this one really small. We'll click into the Animate tab, open up the Inverse Kinematics block, and while the end of this chain here is highlighted, we'll click on Calculate IK, open up the Goal pull-down menu here, and select IK Goal as the goal. So when we highlight our null, we get the simplest form of an IK constraint. One main bone and an effector at the end to tell it what direction it's supposed to point. We'll middle mouse click on Bone 1, go back into Setup, and under the skeleton block, we'll split that bone. So now when we go back into Animate and move our null around, we get the all too familiar IK chain. Now our problem lies in how these bones are deforming our mesh. Right now they're just pinching them off at the top where they bend. We want to soften this transition between the two bones with what's known as a fan bone. Since this is an IK chain, the easiest way to do that is insert a bone in between these two and let the IK solver calculate the difference between them. So click back into Setup, we'll highlight Bone 1, go down to the skeleton block, and we'll split that bone. Let's position this bone right in the middle and put the end right at the end of our IK goal. Let's move that to the bottom. So now when we click into Animate and move our goal around, you can see that the new bone we added has split the difference between the old bone's angle and the old bone. The easiest form of an IK fan possible. You can see that it still pinches off kind of strangely. Well, that's easy to fix. Since we did it once before, let's let the IK solver smooth our transitions. So click back into Setup, highlight the middle bone, and we'll split it again. When we click back into Animate, you'll see that it curves even nicer. If the curve is too much or too great, we go back into Setup. We can go down to the skeleton block here, click on Real Time Modify, and we'll shorten these bones down really small. So now we click into Animate, you'll see that the transition is as smooth as possible.